Okay, today is going to be a little bit of a different Coffee with Brendan talk. We're not going to talk about the markets. We're not going to talk about inflation, no charts or graphs, just me. And how thankful I am for the journey that I've been on the last 3 years. This video actually kind of coincides with two things that have happened. One, obviously, Thanksgiving is next week, so the concept of giving thanks. But two, a letter I received almost 3 years ago. So with that teaser, let's start with that letter. For those of you who have been with Waymark for some time, you may have noticed some changes over the past several years. Biggest change is that I became sole owner of Waymark. This meant I assumed both the assets and liabilities of the firm 100%. And while we had been doing well up to that point and had a good amount of assets, we also had a pretty big bank loan. Unfortunately, banks don't like management changes. And so when I became 100% owner, they wrote a pretty nasty letter to me, November 2019. I remember it very, very well, and told me that the outstanding loan was due and payable immediately. Imagine if you had a let's say call it $300,000 mortgage and it was called and you had to come up with $300,000 immediately or you'd lose your home. That's pretty much what happened with us. So needless to say, it was a very, very difficult and anxiety-provoking time for me back in 2019, about 3 years ago. Lots of sleepless nights and some times when I really didn't think we'd be able to get out of it because we had to find another bank to take over that loan and find it pretty quickly. Recently found that letter, read through it, got some shakes because I still have some PTSD from it. But luckily, we did find another bank to take over that loan, and since that time, it's been nothing but positive results. And that's something that I wanted to talk about in this video. So as we near Thanksgiving week, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you, our clients, for sticking with us all these years. Hopefully, you didn't see much of the stress and much of the sweat that we went through 3 years ago, but there admittedly have been a number of changes over the years, and we're not oblivious to the fact that you trust us with your life savings. Many of you, some of you don't invest everything with us, but for a good chunk of you, we hold and manage a good chunk of your life savings. So that's not lost on us. And with all these changes, you remain loyal to us. And I know it's cliche, but it's true. Without you, we wouldn't have a business. And Brandon and I wouldn't be able to support our families the way that we do. So thank you for that. But speaking of Brandon, he also deserves a pretty huge thank you. 3 years ago, he had every opportunity to jump ship when I became sole owner of Waymark. But he remained loyal and frankly, probably had more confidence in myself than I did. But on a weekly basis, I get feedback from many of you that Brandon is such a huge asset to the firm, and I couldn't agree more. In fact, I joke with my mom, who's also a client, that several people, I said this to my mom and I've said this to several people, that if we were Apple, Brandon would be our iPhone. So he's not the whole business, Apple sells other things, but he's a huge chunk of it and a huge part of the success. So thanks, Brandon. We also have and again, unbeknownst to many of you, we also have a whole other team that supports us, like Nikki. Nikki handles the administrative tasks. We're a demanding team, and she handles everything we throw at her with a virtual smile on her face. We also have Brooke and Crystal, who handle our marketing. They're two brilliant, creative women from south of the Mason-Dixon line who design all of our newsletters, our emails, our website. Pretty much, and they handle all of our social media stuff. So if you've liked any of the social media, any of the emails, and have seen the upgrades that they brought to the firm, it's because of Crystal and Brooke. We also have Tina, who is constantly challenging my thinking about the business. And we also have Gary, who manages our books. I could not do what I do without this all-star team. So for me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your loyalty and referrals have meant the world to me, my team, and my family. I hope you and your family have a wonderful and hopefully COVID-free Thanksgiving. And I'm looking forward to the holiday season and hopefully a great 2022. But let's get through Thanksgiving first.